Bring it on. Want some, get some.
Can I get a hell yeah?
Yes, I am a pirate.
You have to go with the pirates because, of course, they have cannons and everything.
It's a pirate's life for me.
Be proud of who you are and what you are. You're pirates.
It is a first down. Pirates.
Because when you're at East Carolina, you go for it every time. Or you don't coach at East Carolina, you don't come to East Carolina, you don't play at East Carolina with a weak heart. Write it.
I think I've ever been in a building as loud as that was. It was deafening in there.
We will get to Omaha. I can promise you that.
Pen and purple all night long in Eastern North Carolina.
You're watching The Sports Objective, the podcast for Pirates.
Yeah. My heart is purple and gold. I'm a pirate down to my soul. And I don't back down, not at all. Find out when the cannons explode.
All right, welcome in to Extra Innings here on the Sports Objective as the Pirates get win number 21. We broke a losing streak. We'll be talking about that. We have so much to talk about in a short period of time. And with us right now, ladies and gentlemen, all the way calm and relaxed. This is the kinder, gentler Kyle from LaGrange, I think, tonight. How are you, sir?
We'll see how kind or gentle I am, but what's going on, guys? Got the win today. Good to see the bats wake back up. But a very, very bad last week, or a little over a week for the Pirates.
No doubt, and we'll be talking about slumps or how you get out of slumps or whatever. Let's welcome in, ladies and gentlemen, national champion from North Carolina Wesleyan, 1989, Coach Paul Hill, who's been training people for not longer than I've been alive, but it made like feel like to him. Year 41 for him. How you doing, Coach?
I'm doing great. They say I got another 40 years. I'm trying. This is 41. This year's really tough. No, glad to be here tonight. We do have a lot to talk about. That's for sure.
And let's bring in, obviously, Landis Wilson, who I got a chance to meet in person yesterday. And I'm going to tell you what, Kyle. I'm going to tell you something, Kyle. Mm-hmm. You're going to go you will not be relaxed when you try all those pecans. They are fabulous. You got to check them out, and we'll talk about that too tonight. Like I said, there's so much to talk about, so little time.
I may very well be relaxed when I try those pecans.
Okay, maybe. So, guys, we're going to talk. Let me just say we're going to talk a lot tonight about baseball. So don't worry when you hear the subject matter we talk about the first of the show. But we have two breaking news stories that our great organization broke thanks to Kyle, the kinder, gentler Kyle from LaGrange Barber. It may not end that way for the show tonight, but his blood pressure is normal and everything. So, Kyle, I'll tell you what, let's do the strength and conditioning coach, that announcement. Let's do that first.
Yeah, I should have had his name already. I can go look on Dave. Look on our Facebook page real fast and give me his name. But new strength and conditioning coach, hired. It's been out there. I confirmed that it was official. I don't know what we're waiting on in terms of the official announcement from the university. It's got to be some HR issues. But he is there. He is employed. He has an office, and he has been in practice. He was here under Coach Golden with Skip. Then was retained by Jeff Charles as an assistant strength coach. He's a Virginia Tech graduate. He's coming here from Virginia Tech. He has been the head strength and conditioning coach at Maryland. He's been the head strength and conditioning coach at Nevada. He was assistant strength and conditioning coach at Oregon most recently, and now he had taken that same position at Virginia Tech just this past winter, and now is here as head strength and conditioning coach. So he's got a good resume. I remember every bit of that, but do not remember his name.
I'm trying. I am looking really hard. So,
on our Facebook page, David. It should be. Just go to.
I'm looking. We've got so many things.
I got it. You guys talk. I'll have his name in just 1 second.
Okay. So always good, guys. Let's get the. I'll tell you what. While he's doing that, let's get the perspective from you guys of baseball. How big of a deal is strength and conditioning as far as lifting weights, all the cardio, the exercise. How big is that for you guys, like from the baseball perspective?
Yeah, it's huge in terms of
It's huge during the season.
And so I think we got like a lag going on, but I was saying it's huge because during the season it's important to maintain and really, obviously to build strength and all that, but really for injuries it's very important. Preventing injuries is huge in baseball, especially this day and age with guys throwing, 95 a lot. So you get a lot of the Tommy John stuff. So guys, prevent injury, being able to contain that is key.
Our new head strength conditioning coach is Mason Baggett. That is his name.
Mason Baggett. Thank you.
Yeah, I already gave his whole resume there, but it's Mason Baggett. So it sounds like a much better fit. Yeah, sounds like a much better fit than well, clearly, hopefully, it's a better fit than the previous guy because he got fired. But it just on paper, it sounds it sounds like a much better hire on paper, and obviously, a guy who's been here before.
No doubt. And Coach, I know you were starting to talk about it, but from a coaching perspective, how big is the strength and conditioning?
Well, it's just like Landis was saying. You've got to maintain during the season. You do your gains during the off season. If a coach says, "Hey, you need to gain 20 pounds," and you can kind of moderately do it during the season, but your focus is on performance and reps out there and keeping up with the everyday grind as far as playing the game. So there's not much time for a lot of strength and conditioning, although you still lift, you still do your bungees, you still do your lightweight lifting, and every position is different. So it's really important that you know exactly what you're doing, what you're trying to accomplish, because you don't have your pitchers down there benching 300-400 pounds when you want flexibility. But you have your pitchers down in the bullpen with your light dumbbells, rotator cuff, the bungees, of course, doing a lot of squats. You want a lot of leg exercise and stuff. When I, back during the days I coached high school and college ball and some semi-pro, I had a lot of guys that liked to lift during the season. So what we kind of did during the season was mold it perfect. I mean, the pitchers, would be on a schedule, the outfielders, the infielders, and the catchers. Then you kind of get a kind of a system going. You still maintain, like Landis was talking about, but your heavy gain lifting is the biggest thing. Again, with your outfielders, infielders, your pitchers are throwing every day. You got to be flexible, so you can't have a lot of bulky muscle and getting jacked, for the beach or something. You're playing baseball.
Yeah, exactly. Being an athlete's key. I was actually talking to somebody this weekend talking about pitchers nowadays. It's not so much being a big clunky guy. It's more of the more athletic you are, the better you are. So guys now, they want an athlete on the mound, a guy who can get up there and be more athletic than, tall and lanky, for instance. And if you are tall and lanky, being athletic is key. I actually had a coach talk to me about that's the biggest difference they're seeing on guys throwing harder is they train them to be more athletic. So I think a good strength and conditioning coach who knows that and understands the new data and the new type of training is going to be, key. Hopefully it works out for ECU.
Yeah, Coach Hill had a good segue a few minutes ago, and I'll go back to it. He mentioned lightweight dumbbells.
Is, Landis, just to add to what you're talking about.
What the hell?
Yeah, lightweight, and these strength and conditioning coaches know that you don't have the same regimen as baseball versus football.
There's a little bit of labor, and it's throwing Kyle off. So,
did he disappear?
Kyle, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Did we lose him?
I don't think he can hear me.
I thought it was the internet.
Can you hear Kyle?
There is a lag in between us four.
Yeah. All right. So, do you want to sign out and come back in, Coach? I don't know if that'll help or not, but all right.
I'll try it.
Okay. All right. So, I think that we've done.
He's got it's like a 10 or 15-second delay that he's getting somehow. It's what it seems like on my end. Because I was like going. So I can't even make the transition now. But it was great too. I was like, anyway.
All right, I'll pitch it to you. So, those of you know that I've been a part of broadcasting. Next year makes 30 years. So, Coach has got 10 years on me as far as he does training for baseball and athletes. And so, I met this individual we're going to talk about in August of 1996. And a lot of my broadcasting friends are friends because I was good to them. They were good to me, and we had a good relationship. So I'll pitch it to Kyle now because one of our friends of the show and friend as far as a broadcaster and ECU Pirate, Brian Bailey, was relieved of his duties from PlayFly Sports a few days ago.
Yeah, decision by Clay Walker and PlayFly to relieve Brian Bailey of his duties at the end of the baseball shows. I believe he's going to finish those out. Bit ridiculous. I don't know exactly. You hear a lot of things, and I'll just tell you, I don't really want to go into details here on the podcast. Just on message boards, really the details on why he was let go. There's two different stories out there. I know which one I believe. Bailey is in. Bailey's not going to make things up.
Right.
So there's no reason for him to. But so as of right now, Brian Bailey has been relieved of his duties for the coaches shows. And, depending on who you believe, the coaches shows are going to go away altogether, or they're going to find somebody else to do it. We'll see. Also, he's been relieved of his duties for, sideline reporting inside Dowdy Ficklin Stadium. So I can tell you what he was being paid to do the coaches shows. It was a decent amount per show, but it was nothing that's going to make or break our budget at all. At all.
No.
And he was willing to do the sideline reporting for free, as I understand it.
That's great.
The little stuff in the stadium. So Bailey's a legend in Eastern North Carolina. So what I would encourage everybody to do, if you don't want Brian Bailey to go away from ECU, sports coverage, of course he'll still cover it for WNCT. But in terms of the coaches shows, and in terms of doing the sideline reported inside Dowdy Ficklin, where you see him up on the jumbotron. If you don't want that to go away, email Clay Walker, head of ECU Sports Media for PlayFly Sports. You can find his email. Just Google it, Clay Walker ECU, Clay Walker East Carolina, however you want to type it. His email will come up. His contact information. Email him. Let him know what you think, that you want Brian Bailey to continue on as part of PlayFly in the ECU Sports Network. I would also advise you to send an email to John Gilbert. This was not a John Gilbert decision, nor an ECU decision. But, Gilbert could have gone to bat for Bailey, and to my knowledge, he hasn't. And from what I understand, Gilbert's not a fan of the decision. So I would encourage John Gilbert. You've made some good decisions here. I think the Blake Harrell hire was the right thing to do, even if it doesn't work out. Keep it going. Have some backbone here and tell Clay Walker we're keeping Bailey. And email John Gilbert and encourage him to do that. That's all I got. Email Clay Walker, email John Gilbert, and let him know you want Brian Bailey to continue on with ECU Sports or ECU Sports Network PlayFly.
I'll put it up on the screen, and I'm also going to I'll tell you guys right now, it's clay.walker@playfly.com. His number is area code 202-957-5319. And we also have John Gilbert, which is the director of athletics, is athletic_director at ecu.edu. And you can call him. His office number is 252-737-4502. And by the way, guys, Alan Thomas took our story, put it out. It has over 400 shares, 402 to be exact, as of right now, beginning of the show. So guess what? If this was not a big deal, if Brian Bailey were not a big deal, if you've done work on social media, 402 shares is a big deal, unless it's like some kind of national brand or something. But anyway, you need to make your voices heard, and I'll keep. And I'll say this: Kyle is being very kind, which I said. I told you he was kinder and gentler, but I appreciate you, Kyle, for you have been very kind tonight, and I expected like a promo. But anyway.
I mean, I can give you that. I just figure at this point in time, be nice until it's time not to be nice, is what Patrick Swayze as Dalton taught me in the movie Roadhouse. Be nice until it's time not to be nice, and
okay, Dalton,
giving them a chance to do the right thing. And again, this right here, as of right now, is on PlayFly and Play Walker. It's not on ECU and John Gilbert. Now, you can get real technical and say, well, who hired or signed the contract with PlayFly, but we don't need to go there right now. I would, while it may not be John Gilbert's decision, he can say, look, like we want to keep Brian Bailey. And to my knowledge, he hasn't. So I'm encouraging him to do so. And I'll cut that promo on Clay Walker when the time comes right. Don't worry about that. I don't know Clay personally at all. But I'd never hear anything good about him. I'm sure he doesn't murder puppies or anything. I'm sure he may be a good husband, good father. But I don't know his social life. But in terms of what he's done for East Carolina, what the hell has him or PlayFly done for East Carolina?
All right,
so maybe somebody can enlighten me.
Well, let me. For those of us that are radio nerds, I will tell you the backstory really fast. Okay. So PlayFly comes along, and they were a startup company. I don't know what happened with Learfield. I was told that Learfield left us. I don't know if that's true. All I know is that the old days of way back when we're distributing ourselves and like had a satellite feed, and we have IMG and all that stuff way back, and then we get Learfield. We didn't have these kind of problems. We didn't have the drama. It's like with Landis. You'll appreciate this. If an umpire is bigger than the game, then we've got a real problem. They should be behind the scenes. And when these people at PlayFly continue to screw up time, and it's at least once a year, as somebody posted on mine. And so here's where I'm coming from, guys. Okay, so PlayFly comes along, and I would just be gentle when I say they didn't know the ins and outs of broadcasting when it came to ECU football. And getting the stuff behind the scenes ready. I'll just leave it at that. I don't want to out the person that I know that did a lot of work behind the scenes on that for when they first got here. It was a complete disaster, epic failure. I've been extremely quiet as I have other things because we're not like a gotcha kind of shock jock kind of show. We're not those people. But anyway, so we followed this story with PlayFly all along, right? Now, remember, they had the trouble, like I said, they had a rough patch. I said, hey, they're PlayFly, they're new to our community, and I gave them a pass, right? I gave them grace. Well, then we have, which is not their fault, obviously, when Jeff Charles passed away, they had plenty of time, to get a new voice of the Pirates. And we understood when the man tragically passes away of a heart attack down in New Orleans in February of 23, we obviously knew you don't just hire a dude the next week. You give that time. That was a very delicate situation. Well, they ended up, they had plenty of time. They had a committee. We all knew, and he's a dear friend of mine, but we knew Chris Edwards did not have a degree. That whole debacle. I'm trying to make cliff notes.
Yeah, I had found that out.
We knew that.
Yeah. I mean, it was like one of the things where we could have told y'all. We could have told y'all he didn't finish at ECU. All you have to do. So we're sitting here with a friggin' podcast with this knowledge, and it takes these Rhodes Scholars all this time to figure it out after the hire's made. And by the way, not for nothing, I don't know if he didn't lie on his resume to Duke. Maybe their requirements were different over at Old Duke. You know, they have no academic standards, but he's still employed there.
Yes.
Yeah. Apparently, they do that.
And all they had to do, we talked about this podcast, I'm not trying to rehash, I'm just trying to make my point. We said, Kyle and I said, it's funny, Kyle and I, all we had to do was all you have to do is put Chris out there, say, look, I made a mistake. I'm very sorry. I should have not been misleading on my resume. What I'm going to do is I'm still going to have the job as voice of the Pirates, and I'm going to work on my degree over the next couple of years. He has like a year or two to finish. He would be done, and we wouldn't have the problem we still have. By the way, Mr. Clay Walker, it's been 26 months. 26 months. And we have no voice of the Pirates. Now, let me say, I'm getting back to the Brian Bailey thing in just a second. All the guys that are doing football, basketball, and baseball, I'm not throwing shade at them. They're doing a great job. But essentially what we have is they've been filling in for 2 years. 2 years. And
we have nobody to identify as that's the guy, that's the voice of the Pirates. We don't have that guy anymore, and we're a Division I program, and I haven't done my research. I don't know if this is becoming a thing across Division I sports. To my knowledge, it's not. To my knowledge, you still have your guy, and it's kind of, maybe not for baseball, but he does basketball and football, and so it's time to get that hire in here.
And they took.
We're piling on at this point. I guess we need to get it focused back on Bailey, but what we're doing is sharing a pattern with PlayFly, making poor decisions. Right. And please tell me what you have done for us at all. I'd love to know. And maybe Clay wants to come on the show and have a conversation sometime, and he can tell us, what's behind these decisions and answer some questions. We'll be nice, but it's not going to be it's going to be an actual interview. There'll be real questions asked, and I'd love to have him on. So Clay Walker, if you want to come on, this is a open invitation. I'm sure this will get back to you to come on the show, and we'll have some conversations about what you've done for East Carolina, as the representative for PlayFly, what PlayFly's done for ECU since PlayFly's been handling ECU Sports Network. The decision, how it was messing with Chris Edwards' resume. Was that your PlayFly's fault? Was that ECU's fault? Why couldn't we salvage the situation? That may have been John Gilbert's decision, honestly. And why haven't we hired a voice since then? Again, is that all on PlayFly or some of that on East Carolina? So, but I'd love to have these conversations. But right now, the point at hand is Brian Bailey. And again, if you want Brian Bailey to continue on as part of ECU broadcast, reach out, email Clay Walker. You give that email address again, Dave?
Oh, yeah. Hold on a second. My screen went back to screensaver. Hang on one.
I think it's clay.walker.
Yeah, at clay.walker at playfly.com. Call him at area code 202-957-5913. And then John Gilbert is athletic_director at ecu.edu. And call him area code 252-737-4502. And guys, here, let me say this, and Kyle knows where I'm going with this. The excuse that PlayFly is giving now, instead of saying, "Oh my God, we made a terrible mistake," we'll bring Brian Bailey back, right? To kind of like, I'm in the PR business, I do promotions, hospitality, and this is a public relations nightmare right now, because what we want to be talking about, and we are going to talk about baseball, but we love Brian Bailey. So we're taking time out of a baseball show because we want it made very clear.
And we'll know pretty simple, David. I didn't mean to cut you off, but we'll know pretty simple. If the coaches' shows go away, or do they stay? Because, we're, one of the rumors out there is why they're letting Bailey go is because the coaches' shows aren't going to exist anymore on TV. Well, let me just say this. You don't make money you're saving money in a budget by doing away with something, but you're also losing advertisement revenue.
That's correct.
So, nobody watches these television coaching shows anymore for anybody because it's 2025. You have all your information at hand. So here's what my advice would be, and maybe I'm speaking out of turn. Maybe it's too much to ask. Maybe it's something PlayFly or WNCT wouldn't be interested in. But instead of doing away with something, revamp it. Let's do it on Sunday morning or Sunday afternoon. Let's move it about Tuesday or Wednesday.
Yeah.
Let's mic up. See if Blake Harrell, instead of doing the typical stand there, talk to him, talk about the game, let's mic up Blake Harrell during portions of the game, and let's get like a documentary type footage of the game on the coach's show. And then as we're showing those highlights, from coach during the actual game, mic'd up, we're having a conversation with him. We'll cut it out from having a conversation to going back to that kind of documentary style. Then we preview the opponent for the next week, because now we're doing the show midweek, and it allows more production time for stuff like that rather than the quick turnaround time. Instead of doing away with it, let's be creative with it. That's just some advice. You guys can use that at PlayFly if you want to. Feel free to ignore it like you would pretty much any good idea, I'm sure.
Well, you're absolutely right about changing up. It's 2025, and also, guys, I won't say the amount I know behind the scenes, so I won't out anybody. But what it comes down to, I'm just going to be flat out, brutally honest. What it comes down to is people are getting salaries and they're not delivering on what they promised, and that is a cause for termination. You cannot say that you cannot sell that they're going to cancel these. Basically, what they're doing to save their butt is they are saying that these coaches shows are outdated and every excuse in the book, and we're going to cancel it because we can't sell it. The reason you can't sell it is you don't have people that can sell. Let's just be we coach and
you're not promoting it.
Players.
It's also an antiquated formula. Revamp it. Change the day. Change the format.
Yeah,
I have
to 2025.
Yes, you exactly. You still have believe me, there's still a lot of interest out there to watch East Carolina football content, but it needs to be something besides. We can literally get online, watch every minute of the post game press conference. We can get online, watch all the highlights. So 12 o'clock on Saturday or Sunday is not a must see. Make it something unique. You put it on Tuesday, Wednesday at 7 o'clock in the evening, if you can get the time slot on WNCT or wherever, and do something like I said, where Coach Harrell's mic'd up during the game, and you're cutting in and out from that kind of stuff, documentary style, to talking to him about the game, and then preview the next week's game as we're coming up on, because now we're in a new game week versus this crap on 12 o'clock on Sunday, the same format basically that we've had since the 1980s.
Yeah, no doubt. No, I agree.
Yeah, what do you
Well,
think?
it's got to flow from one game to the other and not gapping.
Yeah. And even do like a podcast style where, hey, what were you thinking here? Like you're saying, Kyle, like have it live during the game. Well, 4th down and 2, y'all went for it here. What were you thinking? Make it interesting. They can do that easily. I mean, that's
exactly.
And we have, and we won't say names, but we have people that we know personally that that they are doing what they're told to do. So we're not crapping on them. Basically, what it comes down to is
absolutely not. Absolutely not. No, not at all. Not at all. Definitely not crapping on the product that's being produced. And they have, and from that side, the video formatting side and all, he's done what he can do, and over in that department to update it. So no, we're not crapping on it from that aspect at all. No,
I just want to make sure that people. ECU is like a small town as far as Pirate Nation, and people misconstrue things when we're actually giving constructive criticism. And I'm going to put that up on the screen, guys, about how people can contact. I'll keep that on as a ticker. That'll be if you're watching.
No, we want people like Brian Bailey to stay involved. So we're not knocking people on that side or the production side. We're knocking the if they're having trouble selling it, it's because it needs to be updated. And updating it doesn't mean doing away with Brian Bailey. Update the format.
That it's everything that we're saying is true. Like the like for example, do you got I know Kyle and Coach Hill and maybe Landis, but basically, have you noticed like with the NFL today and a lot of those shows, pregame shows, NFL, they used to have everybody sitting at a desk like it was Action News 5 or whatever, and now they have them throwing footballs. They're trying to do different things to get you. If not, there's no reason for me to watch those pregame and all the great interviews they're doing and different things. So that's what I would do is,
well, the behind the scenes type shows, like you have, like, ESPN will produce, like, following a team around throughout the year.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do it that format, but, involve Bailey interviewing Blake, do it documentary style, but then cut in and out to Bailey interviewing him. Then, and I have it formatted in my head perfect, exactly what I want it to be. As soon as I heard they were supposedly having trouble selling the coaches show, I had, like, in my head, like, what I'd like to see done. I'm just having trouble exactly articulating it, but I have it pictured perfect in my head.
well, again, that is a very, very indictment of PlayFly. And you don't ever tell anybody that you can't do the job, because guess what? There's lawyers, and I see that thanks to A-Win, it looks like we are stuck until 2034. But guess what?
Oh, they'll be bought out by Learfield IMG by then. Don't worry.
Yeah. And so I was going to say, you got to, somebody, let me just say this, somebody's got to pay the price. At my work, one of our values is accountability. And who is accountable for this? Who's accountable for making this bad? Like, if you're Coach Paul Hill and he's a coach and the team is like 2-30, it wouldn't be because of Coach Hill. But hypothetically speaking, let's say Coach has a team and it's going really bad and he's only got a few wins and a whole bunch of losses. Who do you think they're going to hold accountable? They're going to have, most likely, it will be the coach.
Always.
And I'm not knocking you, Coach. You're way better than that. I'm just saying, if you had a bad season, then they're going to do that. And so why aren't we having – that's the ultimate question for me. Who's going to take the fall on this? I'm sorry, but somebody – there's been so many mistakes. Who is going to resign? We need a resignation or somebody to be fired for this. This has gone way too far. We are in year 3 of PlayFly, and it – again, what they did –
Yeah, I'm not going to call for anybody to be fired, but I will say this. If Clay Walker – continue, he's the guy that's the hit of this for PlayFly for ECU. And I believe he's an ECU graduate, so I hate that. But if he's going to continue to drop the ball, again, the Chris Edwards situation, apparently we can't, we're having trouble with making money, selling advertisement, depending on, again, this is just what we're told. Tell us if we're wrong. And then now this Brian Bailey decision, at some point, if Clay Walker is not doing anything good for East Carolina, does he or PlayFly, East Carolina or PlayFly, or however that works, need to reevaluate what he's doing? So I don't know. Like I said, I'd like to have a conversation with Clay and get some answers to some of this stuff here on the air on the podcast. I'm not going to hold my breath on that happening, but I think it would be an interesting guest, and we would conduct ourselves professionally, as we always do when we have guests like that on. I save the non-professional things for when we don't have anybody on. It would be a safe space. No worries.
No doubt. And I know there are people that may not like us talking about it, but I will tell you that I understand. Here's the thing, guys. Here's the thing. I'll say this one more thing, and then we'll move on to, we'll talk baseball. The reason I'm upset is I've known this guy for almost 30 years, and tough decisions are made. We know all that. But I will say to Clay Walker, you know why you fired him. It was not because of this BS answer of, we know why he was fired. So why don't you just completely say that this was a decision, a personal decision, not a personnel decision. This was a decision you made personally, and that's why I'm animated. If people want to think I'm preaching right now, you know why I'm preaching? Because every year, I want to do like Steve Logan. So every year we have something in our athletic department that happens where we go backwards. This is not a forwarding move to cut Brian Bailey. He should be able to leave on his own terms. The guy had a health scare in the last a year or two. He comes back, and then you're going to do this to him because you got butt hurt. We know, Clay. We know people that will tell you, we know that you got butt hurt. So why don't you be a real man, step up to the plate, give this guy his job back? You're not paying him peanuts anyway. So why wouldn't you do the right thing and say, I made a mistake. I'm Clay Walker. I'm a big man, and I made a mistake. You're a guy who can't stand the heat, So you got out of the kitchen. You actually deactivated your Facebook account because you couldn't handle it.
Wow.
So,
talk to me, baby. Tell me what you're feeling. I know what love is. What's it to you?
I knew y'all were hyped up. Good God, I reckon those pecans did something to you.
No, I'm just
nuts. I'm telling you.
It's like I'm tired of having to talk about things that have nothing to do about.
By the way, that was a line from a Clay Walker song. If anybody's wondering what that was about a second ago for me,
I don't think that's.
He's also a country artist. If anybody is not familiar,
well, maybe he should go back on tour. But
not the same Clay Walker. Not the same. Clay Walker.
Brian Bailey. I've known him since I was playing ball. I always saw him at the games growing up. Going to Conley. I know he's great. I grew up with his daughter. Great as well. So. You hate to see that happen to somebody that, as we've said, is just an institution around here and just does a great job. Is great at his job. He does an awesome job.
And by the way, Landis, he just renewed his contract for 3 more years, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
I guess it's okay. I hope. Well, I'm just going to shut up there because I don't know what's public and what's not. But I'll just say this. He's going to be at WNCT for a little while still, and they're still the official station of the Pirates.
Yeah.
So doesn't that make for strange bedfellows?
No doubt. So anyway, we've said what we had to say, and I know people may want us to talk baseball. We're going to do that, but we wanted to take time out of our show, which is Extra Innings, here on the Sports Objective to air our displeasure, whether we have any leverage or not. Let me tell you something about Pirate Nation. There's over 400 shares, again, on Facebook. The people are upset. And if Brian Bailey means nothing to people, then why did over 400 people share that? It was not a big deal.
Exactly. And I when I heard about this news, I decided to share it, and I shared it on our Facebook page, and then tried to get people behind it. Also went and posted it on Voice of Colors, and Alan Thomas picked it up and put our Facebook post with his and asked people to start sharing it. And Alan's post has got over 400 shares in support of Brian Bailey. So thanks Alan Thomas for teaming up with us on that. And I'm sure Dave, as I've done in the past, I'm sure this is going to get us in trouble. But that's okay. That's okay because I ain't never towing anybody's company line. And you want me to tell your company line, first pay me. Last time I checked, I pay you. I give to the Pirate Club. I give to Team Boneyard. I'm a season ticket holder. So I've always been of the opinion I will speak my mind. What we have, in terms of what I've said publicly, I haven't said anything publicly other than facts. So if people want to be mad, they can be mad. But you check what I've posted, and you even check what I've said here on the podcast, except something maybe I've said in humor. You tell me anything I've said that hasn't been factual.
That's right. And so anyway, we'll keep this is a story that's continuing to develop. As they say, we'll shift now to Coach Hill feels very uncomfortable. I can look at him right now. So we'll shift to baseball, something I'm sure they're way more comfortable to talk about. And we'll also talk about the pecans too, Landis, as well. So
Landis said, forget about that sponsorship. Never mind.
Y'all on a roll.
Well, East Carolina fans, as you know, are very passionate. And another segue for y'all. Tough week at the office, 1-4. We had a 6-game losing streak. First question I want to have, and I'll get y'all's take on the week, but I had this question of how do you mentally get out of just winning games? How do you get out of a slump of a 6-game losing streak, which we're not used to in Greenville?
So I'll say, I think today winning that 12-4 is how you get out of a losing streak, obviously winning, but mentally beating them 12-4 just kind of puts you back like, okay, we're still pretty good, because, baseball will get you like that. It'll, especially when you're losing that many in a row and you're not used to it, you'll kind of second guess everything. Kind of, oh my God, what am I going to do here? Nothing's going right. But like yesterday, Saturday's game was probably, just to be honest, probably one of the worst games I've seen ECU play in a while. But I've seen some of the best teams have the worst games. Some of the best players have the worst games. So it happens. So I think today, was key in just kind of getting the mojo back per se, to kind of getting that winning mentality back, because it's good to win today, because then, I think they play Tuesday, but then you're kind of like on a winning streak again. So you kind of can forget about it. So, it's hard to kind of pull yourself out of the mud like that sometimes. But I thought today that's kind of just a good way of doing it. 12-4. That's a dominating win. They dominated from wire to wire today. So I think that was key. And even Coach at the end of the game, Coach Godwin, he was very positive with the talking. Everything sounded good. It sounded like they, getting back onto it. That's all you can do here. So I think that was the reason. I think that's how you cure that.
Yeah, it's kind of like batting. You go 0 for 2 the first 2 times at bat, and then the last at bat you get a base hit. It's a good feeling coming into the dugout / clubhouse after going 0 for 2. Beginning kind of a fresh start, as Landis was talking about. We got to remind ourselves. So, and I'm not making excuses. I'm viewing this as literally a coach's standpoint. He has 27 new players, 4 on the staff, and again, this is it's tough to swallow. Losing those games in a row, but we're still 7-5. What is it? What are we in the conference right now?
7-5. 7-5, Paul.
I'm trying to remember. Yeah, 7-5. That's what I thought. 7-5. You're not in a losing bracket yet. Hopefully, we'll pull out of it. But again, 27 new ball players on the team. That's a lot. And I'm not making excuses. I think the guys are, they want to win. They're not going to be in a rut of, not trying to lose is what we don't want to get into.
Yeah.
We want to try to win. It's not trying not to lose. It's kind of like trying not to strike out at the plate, going up there and hit the baseball. So if we can keep that perspective and a big win here on Sunday going into, midweek, in-state rival, UNC Wilmington, and then back to conference. You barely get time to breathe a little bit and you're right back at it. So my perspective on this is not trying not to lose, but continue trying to win and keeping that positive attitude.
Do you guys think Coach Hill still got the lag? I think he's using Christian Bateman's Usenet. But do you guys think that we're to a point now where we're going to have to win the conference tournament to get into a regional, or do y'all think, would we have to basically win out now to get into it by our merits during the regular season? I think we're getting to the point. I don't think we're quite there yet. I think we can still get hot, maybe drop one more game and make it based on our regular season merits. But I think we're getting pretty close to the point where we're going to have to win the conference tournament.
As JR points out, we started 7-5 at conference and 23 and won the AAC regular season title.
Yeah. Well, that's because we got red hot. We'd have to do that again.
Yeah, I think we're going to have to do that again. And it looks like UTSA is 10-2. So, and we have to play them at home, I believe. Yeah, at home.
Yeah, it's incredible.
That would be key, but I think it's going to be. I think there's. I don't know how many games here. It looks like 20 or so. I mean, almost a 20-0, 18-2 run, something like that, to get a regional bid. Beat State again because we play State April 22nd. So I think they're going to have a. Not saying it's not possible. They've done it before, like we just said, but I think they're going to have to make a mighty good run here just to prove that they're supposed to be a regional team without winning the conference tournament. So to answer your question, I think deserving. Yeah, I think conference tournament's going to be the best bet.
And Johnny makes a great point. The Pirates could have easily won the series. The pitchers only allowed 7 walks this weekend and didn't commit an error. You're right, Johnny. I thought about that yesterday, how we're playing better baseball. The bats have just got to get red hot, and they did today. So maybe this is a turning point for the team. You never know.
Yeah. And I think like in the game yesterday, like they could have won that yesterday, but I mean, they put in the pinch runner at second, and line drive right over his head. He made a bad read, double play, ball game over. I mean, if that ball was 5 feet to the right, that scores the runs. It's a different. They win the series. So, sometimes in baseball, it's good to get beat down. To be honest with you, especially middle of the season, because it kind of just it gets you going. But again, I think rebounding today was the best thing, obviously, that could have happened. I think winning by 8 runs, 10 runs is the best way just to keep the spirits up. Like, hey, we just had a bad run there. We're all right. I think that's key to the mental part.
Right.
Yeah, I do think going forward, and obviously we have a young team, so they're getting a lot of experience. They'll be a more experienced team next year, depending on how many stay. But I do think there's some talent. I see maybe some areas where talent needs to be upgraded, and experience would have helped this team a lot. There's really not a lot of team leadership, it seems, and I think that's where coach is going to have to embrace the portal more going forward. And we need more NIL for baseball to go with that, but. I think in this day and age, when you look at the programs that are successful, they're getting a lot of players from the portal, a lot of players from junior college, and I think I love the way Coach Godwin does it, but I don't know that that's sustainable anymore. Maybe it can be. It can, maybe I was about to say maybe it can be tweaked. You can develop your players, and hopefully some guys will have some loyalty to you. But you got to hit the portal more and hit the JUCOs more, or we're going to just continue to get passed by. And that's what's concerning to me is, you look at Clemson as the example in football, and they're still successful, haven't fallen to that level, but they're not competing for national championships anymore.
Right. And I was talking to Landis yesterday, and I want to talk to you guys. So basically, it's like this. I heard hey, Kyle, you'll appreciate this, and maybe Coach, I don't know if you like country music, but there's a song from 1985, and it's called Old Hippie by the Bellamy Brothers.
Great song.
And it's one of my favorite songs from the country-wise from the 1980s. And they're talking about, do they hold on to the old, or do we grab on to the new?
Yeah, that is definitely a line in that song. I think you can do both. I think you got to grab on to do the new, but you got to stay true to who you are. I know you're asking Coach Hill, get Coach Hill to comment on this, but you got to stay true to who you are and the way you do things. But if you don't evolve with the times, you're going to get passed by.
Yeah, it's true. I mean, you can still do your normal recruiting and stuff, but if I was coaching college baseball, and I'm no expert by no means, but I have coached in there, and sitting back and seeing what these coaches are going through nowadays, and basically with one eye open and one eye closed, because you don't know who's going to be there next year, is developing your players. And as Kyle and Landis, all of us been talking about, is filling in with those JUCO players, impact players coming in. The bad thing about this, all this money in college baseball is they have a great season. They're gone. We can't compete with the SEC and these guys. They're gone. I mean, they are.
We're going to have
it's just the nature of the game. There's got to be a cap on it, as we talked about it, several times on the show and stuff. Until that happens, we're D1 school. But we're not, and I hate to say it, and I'm a, purple and gold guy. I played there. We're not at that level yet.
But
we're just not.
Here's the thing, though. What you're saying is true, but there is how many Division I baseball programs is there?
There's 18 in North Carolina. I know. I don't know.
You're right. There's like 300. So Division I base, maybe not quite 300, maybe 200 and something. We'll say 250. There's 250 Division I baseball programs. And if somebody has that exact number, please feel free to put it on the screen. So yeah, are we an SEC school in terms of money? No. Are we a Big 12 school in terms of money? No. Are we, swallow your spit a little bit when you say it, an ACC school when it comes to money? No. But can we outspend anybody in the CAA? Can we outspend anybody in the A10? Can we outspend anybody in the Missouri Valley? Yes. And so, while, a kid may have a great season here and leave here to go to South Carolina, well, then let's go steal somebody from Missouri State. So, and that's the mentality we're going to have. And I think we can, in terms of, I hate to say this, sound like John Gilbert, in terms of this level, I think our love for baseball, we can probably get a lot more money behind baseball than anybody else in the American. With the Apollo, maybe Wichita State, I could see them at some point because they don't have football really investing in NIL into baseball like they do basketball. But we should be dominating NIL baseball in the American. There shouldn't even be a conversation who has the biggest NIL budget for baseball in the American. And I know Rice and Tulane have a lot of money.
That is true.
Yeah. And if you're going to develop the kids, in my opinion, you can hold on to that old, but then you pay them to stay here. You're going to have to give the kids some type of option because South Carolina's they're going to get the premium of the premium. And so you might be second tier, okay, but you still get $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 to stay at ECU. You've been here 2 years. You're going to do that. You know what I'm saying? So if you're going to develop the kids in this day and age, in my opinion, if you're going to try to develop them for 2 or 3 years, you're going to have to give them money to stay. Plus, you got to start in spot. If you do that, you got to start in spot. You go to South Carolina, you might get, and I get why the kids are, playing baseball to go into debt, right? Which is what we did pretty much. If you didn't have a full scholarship, you came out in debt.
Right.
But if you got to play, if you go to South Carolina and it's contingent on you playing whether you get your money or not, well, here, stay at ECU. We'll give you $30,000. You got to start in spot.
And something else, Landis, that is about to become a thing is revenue sharing. And you think of revenue sharing, particularly, is going to affect the revenue sports, football, basketball. But that revenue sharing that's going to come down from the universities. Some of that's going to get trickled down into Olympic sports. And here, I would hope, of all the baseball programs in the American, we have the biggest split of revenue sharing for baseball. Once that starts here, when the money comes straight from the university to players, I would hope, that, so it may have to take it a little bit away from basketball because you can't take it away from football, but our baseball revenue sharing better be at the top of the American, which that'll help us right away in terms of having more talent than the rest of the conference.
And guys, I think when you're talking about, I was telling Landis, we're missing a few pieces, obviously, stating the master of the obvious, but for me, if we have our fan base that's passionate, when you look at Pirates Unite, Ryan Robinson and everybody with the Pirate Club have done a great job, and John Gilbert have with that campaign. And we've got the baseball expansion. We have all that stuff. So now it's what we need to do now is simply focus on NIL. We've got the facilities up to date, and let's focus on getting those great players. And baseball, guys, baseball is one that we truly have a competitive, not advantage, but we are still competitive if we do the NIL piece. That's what's missing right now. It's like I was telling Landis yesterday, it's the elephant in the room. Like, I want to be quiet and not say anything, because I don't want it to be portrayed or perceived that I'm anti-Cliff at all. Let me just say the X's and O's, all the stuff they're doing is right. But the NIL, like you were talking about, Kyle and guys, if we have to pay a lot of money, if we have to guarantee, everybody has basically, you get a free education to come here, whatever you have to do, that's what it's going to take. If not, we're going to get it further and further behind. And there's a lot of people that behind the scenes, as far as not behind the scenes, but as far as Pirate Nation talking about it, I can be stubborn. I'm one of the most stubborn people you'll ever meet, but I also know I want to win. And in July 21, Kyle and I, the guys on this show, we were talking about it, how we didn't like it. And I kind of sulked for a week, right? And then I realized the ultimate question, do you want to win? So look yourself in the mirror and ask yourself, do you want to win or not? Because how much fun, guys, is in the jungle for a regional or super regional? It's nothing like it.
Yeah, and I think they'll get the money back on investment. Like, if you pay for the player to come here, and all of a sudden we're hosting a regional and a super regional, then that's just money back into ECU. That's money back into Greenville. Like, I mean, I feel like that could even be used for NIL money for the next year, right? You can do that, especially. I mean, there's no telling. I'd love to know how much they make per ECU game, But I think
and a lot of this, in terms of NIL, and while I appreciate Cliff wanting to keep doing things the way he has been doing it, that's the way I wish things still were. He's going to have to embrace, like I said, and I'll make this last point. I love Cliff. Definitely don't want another head coach. None of that. But Cliff needs to embrace the portal and embrace, that we have a fan base that I think would be willing, if asked, to get behind NIL more for baseball. I said back when this was passed, NIL became a thing on the podcast, we had their first discussion about it. I said here in 21, whenever it was, 2020, I said on the podcast that night when it was, we not heard it was going to become a thing. I said I would immediately quit building stuff and put all money in NIL. And nobody here on the show agreed with me at the time. And as we see here all these years later, guess who won the pony, unfortunately?
No, I'm saying I agree with you.
Kyle, we weren't on the show.
Oh, no. Well, correct. You weren't. But Dave, Bubba, Matt, I don't even know if Matt was with us yet. It was Dave. Matt was with us at that point?
Yeah, he came on us in fall of 2020.
Okay. So, I remember, that's what I said. And I think over time it's shown the direction we should have gone. And, we're going to finally build this indoor practice facility and for football. And I know we're talking baseball specific, but for football, we're finally building this indoor practice facility and nobody gives a damn. You ask a player now, do they give a damn if we have an indoor practice facility or if they're going to make $100,000? Is the adjective I used to use when we started having this argument, does money need to go to NIL back in 21 or does it need to go to facilities? The argument I always said, well, if your boss came to you and said, Dave Richmond, we can spend $500,000 and make this facility you work in nicer, or we can give you a $20,000 raise and $20,000 raise to all your coworkers. Which one are you going to choose? You're going to say, damn, this facility, it's all right. Give me that $20,000 raise. It's the same thing. Players don't give a damn about facilities anymore. They only care about money in their pocket.
No doubt. So
it's sad to say, but it is.
And again, I think at the end of the day, everybody's coming to watch the players play. So, it's I think the day has come where it needs to be regulated to a degree. So there's a cap on it.
Oh God, yes.
But at the end of the day, especially at big time football schools, I mean, you got ESPN getting paid billions of dollars, the school getting paid $1 billion, and the players, they're actually getting, they're the stars of the show.
But there has to be some kind of commitment, Landis, and that's the biggest problem is you look at coaches. Well, coaches have to sign a contract. They have to sign a 5-year contract, and they get fired. They have to get bought out, or if they leave, somebody's going to pay the university the rest of that contract out. Yet a player doesn't have to sign a contract. That's two things that need to change. They need to cap it, a salary cap, and there needs to be a 2-year agreement. When you sign on that dotted line for that NIL, you have to sign a 2-year commitment. And if you break that commitment, you have to give, whatever portion is agreed, there's a buyout. And there needs to be contracts written up like that going forward so we can have Rajay Harris. I'm using football as an example again, it's where my mind goes. So we can have Rajay Harris's, there's going to be no more Rajay Harris at East Carolina. There's going to be no more 5-year seniors at East Carolina. And it sucks. And it's not just East Carolina, it's everywhere. Particularly at not just the group of 5 or the group of 4 level as it is now, but no, still the group of 5 is the power 4. About to be the group of 6 when the Pac-12 comes back. But anyway, at this level, to quote John Gilbert, you're not going to have players stay in 5 years. and the same at schools like NC State. So we need to get back to some of that. There needs to be a period of time these kids have to stay here. There needs to be a contract signed when they're getting paid, and if they break that contract and go somewhere else, somebody's got to buy it out. Hold on, I'll finish my thought and I'll shut up.
You're good.
And the last part of that, and I've lost my train of thought here. But the last part of that is back to what I was saying about there's going to be no more Rajay Harris's. It's going to be a shame for them too, because Rajay Harris, David Garrard, whoever, when they say they're a Pirate, that's where they go back to. Where are these kids going to go back to? Are they just going to pick one of their 5 schools and decide that's their alma mater? I mean, where are they going to have a legacy to? And that's where some of this, and it will. It's too much Wild West right now. It's gone kind of like in politics. We go way too far to the left and way too far to the right. So at some point, there's going to be probably an overcorrection of this, because it was so regulated for so long, and now it's so unregulated. And at some point, we're going to correct it and hopefully get it right when we do.
I think you had a great point about the contracts, too. I think the contract will kind of probably make everything back to normal.
Settle down. Yep. It would settle down.
3-year contract unless you get drafted or something. I feel like that could.
I'd be fine with a 2-year contract, honestly. I'd be fine with 2 years. We won't even have to go 3 years. Just give me a commitment that you're going to be here 2 years. Once we start paying you, if you're not getting paid, no commitment. But once we start paying you, it's going to be a 2-year commitment.
No doubt.
And it can be.
Well, and if you get drafted, you get money there too. And if you owe East Carolina University X amount of dollars, you should pay it back for the next player.
No doubt. And that's one thing, the school that you're going to, maybe they pay it or you pay it, but there's a lot of things that with NIL that we need to definitely improve on, and we need to improve upon the fact that baseball having the ridiculous scholarship issue, if we were able to pay for those scholarships, we should, and I think that we should do more and I know Coach Godwin I do know that he's been working on that, on at least, if nothing else, getting all their tuition paid for or their scholarship. Are y'all there?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought I lost you. Okay. So
hey, one more thing.
Okay.
Hey, one more thing, Dave, with the players. The other thing to add, the contracts, absolutely, some type of cap. And if they win the conference, go to regionals, and win a national championship, they add different levels of pay per player. Coaches get it. Let the players get a little taste of it, a little incentive to keep them here.
I think they could definitely do that. I think contracts are key.
Well, right now,
it is.
Right now, of course, you can't have contracts right now either. But right now, incentive-based payment is not allowed. So hopefully when the contract rule is changed, and I think that will become a thing, hopefully the incentive-based pay will also be allowed.
It's coming. It's coming.
No doubt. So looking ahead, guys, I know we've gone a little bit over, not too bad tonight. And we got to talk about Billy's House of Nuts and Candy with Landis. But let's talk about this week. Pirates have a game. It's Tuesday night, right, against UNCW. And we got to win. We lost in Fayetteville 4-9. And then, of course, we bounced back at Brooksfield back on April Fool's Day, 10-6 in 10 innings. And now we have hopefully we can get a big crowd Tuesday night at 6 o'clock at Lewis Field at Clark LeClaire.
Yep, that'd be a good win. With the win today, rolling in on Tuesday, should definitely feel a lot better than losing today. So, some positive attitude going into Tuesday. And, again, big rivalry. I mean, from here on out, every win counts. So, not looking ahead too much, although conference is very important at this point. but every win, you do whatever you got to do to win the ball game. Worry about tomorrow when it gets here.
Right, and obviously when like JR said earlier, we had no errors. I mean, that's a really big
Absolutely.
deal. And I know Coach talks about it whenever about focus. I'm talking about Coach Godwin, but I'm sure Coach Hill and Landis would talk about that. How big is was the issue focus, or do you think it's nerves, or I guess once it's like Murphy's Law, once one thing happens, it just kind of spirals down?
I feel like, and I think Coach Godwin hit on the head. I think what happened is once you start failing at hitting and maybe you're striking out a bunch, you're just focused on yourself. Oh God, I struck out. Oh God, I struck out. Rather than, okay, I struck out. How am I going to go help the team win? I feel like this last game, they kind of had a mindset of a togetherness. We're going to get together here and we're going to win the ball game no matter what. I might strike out 3 times, but I'm going to make a play on shortstop. So I've been on teams where you get so focused on, and you don't mean to do it, where you get focused on your individual stuff, where you forget the common goal. And it's easier to win as a team and when you're not as focused, and it's hard to do. It's hard to kind of not focus on yourself, but say, hey, the ultimate goal is we win here. And I had a coach tell me once when I was trying to get drafted, he's like, if y'all don't win, nobody's going to see y'all. Nobody's going to see y'all drafted. So if y'all are losing, then you don't got any chance. The further you go into it, the better chance everybody's got. And that really stuck with me when I was younger, because it made sense. It was like, hey, yeah, I might go 0-3, but I might get back there and catch and call a good game and throw a guy out and win the game because of that. And then we're playing in the championship where I go 4-for-4. So I think that's key to kind of, all right, with this position, we just got to get as far in this season as we can to kind of make up for everything. So, UNCW got to win.
Again, go out there and play. I'm sorry, there's still a little lag, but again, go out there and play relaxed, and not trying to lose. You're not playing trying not to lose. Go out there and play to win, just like in at bat. Don't go up there and try not to strike out. Go up there and try to hit the ball and put it in play. Do something with it. But you have a roller coaster in any sports. Baseball, you got a lot of games. So you try to keep that, from exceeding way up and way down. And Landis, I think we were talking about this the other day in the cages with some players trying to keep it right in the middle. You're going to have ups and downs, but you don't want to go way down and way up. There's no consistency. And that's what you're trying to keep within your at-bats, pitching, fielding, stealing bases, and it rolls over as a team, and that unity and that positive attitude, going in each game and each at bat and throwing the pitches. So,
yeah, I think I heard somebody say like a boring roller coaster. You don't want it to be like up and down. You want it to be like a boring roller coaster, kind of the emotions.
Yep.
No doubt. And also, guys, one thing that comes to mind is have fun. Go out there and have fun. You love the game. We can't do anything about life. We can't do anything about what happened in the last 5 minutes or yesterday or 10 years ago. All we can do is what we have in the right now. So we have, of course, with UNCW and also UAB. It's on the road, but you never know when, just like we thought in 2 years ago, it was a rough patch we went through, and then all of a sudden we get red hot, finish first in the regular season as far as winning the regular season championship. And, you never know what's going to happen. So hopefully we can catch, some breaks like
UAB this. On the road? I thought that was at home. Is that on the road?
I thought it was on the road.
It's on the road.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is.
Oh, yeah. This conference, yeah.
Thursday, Friday, Saturday.
Remember, Kyle, we were talking about how there's 9 series. So
yeah, I do now. Okay. Yeah.
All right. But anyway, that I know we've talked about it before. On the road is definitely a big thing. How people can go in there and bond together. And maybe this is we've talked about it before, but they didn't have 2 sweeps back to back. Something we don't see. So thankfully they won today. Maybe you go 3-1 this week and have a good week, and and move on. I think that we talked about it before, but you never know when the team may get red hot, and who knows what can happen. But when Coach Godwin talks about it's a marathon, not a sprint, talking about the baseball season, man, I've thought about that a lot over this week about how grueling the season is. And, maybe mentally they're maybe not physically, but maybe mentally they're really struggling there. I know the coach talks about the mental toughness, and it can, the season you guys can attest to how tough the season is, having all those games.
Well, it's about having fun. Like you said, Landis was out in the cages with me the other day, and I had ball players over there, and I had guys that did a pregame workout, and Landis was involved with it, and we were having a simple little contest in hitting, middle inside, middle backside, down the curve balls, and just had a little bit of fun there at the end. Still doing and trying to accomplish things as you go along. But back in the day when I coached the stuff, we'd go out there and guys, you're hitting opposite side, and we're running the bases, third base, second to first, just to the dynamics of laughing at one another. And it's okay, because baseball is a failure game. It's tough. It's grueling, like you said. And if anybody knows, to get into Baseball Hall of Fame, you've got to bat 300. So the other 7 times at bat, you ground out, strike out, pop up, or something. So you've got to learn. And these guys are old enough; they know all this. But what I'm saying is, like you said, have fun, go back to the basics, and go back at it. And every swing has a purpose. Every pitch has a purpose. Every at-bat has a purpose. Know what your goal is and what you're trying to accomplish up there.
No doubt.
And I just wanted you to know that I have a special purpose.
What is your special purpose?
Kyle, I'm going to have to change my internet or something, because I'm ghosting out and I've got a delay. I've learned how to do it in the past hour, how to talk 15 seconds behind.
That's like me in real time, but anyway.
By the way, the movie The Jerk.
I can't hear
it. Landis can't hear me? Anyway,
I can hear you. I can hear you. I got you.
All right, anyway, the reference, if he was talking about purpose, special purpose, the movie The Jerk, great movie. If anybody didn't get the reference. Anyway, I'm gonna. Landis can't hear me, so I'm gonna shut up. So you guys continue on.
Landis has an antenna on one of those pecan trees. It comes and goes.
Can you hear me, Landis?
I'm getting a little bit.
All right, he's gone, and he'll come back. So
the wind blew the antenna down.
Is that what happened? Man, the things you have to go through.
I swear to God, and I'm about to step out and be done with my portion of the show. Even if you guys are going to keep going, but I'll share this. Being Coach brought up having an antenna on a pecan tree. I swear to God, I wish Stevie was watching tonight. So our friend Stevie Fly, you talked about Landis having an antenna on a pecan tree there for his internet. Up until recently, Stevie's internet in the town of Lasker, North Carolina, they had a giant, it was like a giant Wi-Fi antenna that served the little town of Lasker. I swear to God, it wasn't buried. It was like a Wi-Fi antenna. That's what he was getting his Wi-Fi. I'd never heard of such a damn thing. And but now they buried, I think, fiber optic there. But Stevie is not watching tonight. But that's funny you mentioned that, because that is a thing, Coach.
It is. I've been over to Landis' house too, and I was wondering why those aluminum foil boxes were thrown out, in the garage. And I kind of know now, Landis, this receptors you get on those pecan trees.
Yeah, I got Am I here now? Can y'all hear me?
Yeah.
You went out there and put a couple more on the limbs.
Yeah, I did just the nut net. So we're good.
The nut net.
I'm not touching.
Don't Google that, kids.
That's a family. It's a family show. Where this. Speaking of nuts, the Billy's House of Nuts and Candy, guys. I've got to tell you what. We got to talk about this real quick. We'll get back to baseball. We have a question from JR. I am not ignoring you, JR. I'll get to you in just a second. Johnny has a question for you, a baseball question. But let's talk about that really quick. Landis brought the samples over to us at the Snack Shack in Williamston. I'm going to tell you something, guys. He's on to something. I'm like, man, do you have any competitors? Because if not, I would be selling it everywhere, markets, Amazon, Walmart, everywhere that I can. Because I'm not just saying it because he's a new friend of mine. I'm telling you, he's got a good product.
Thank you. Appreciate it. And we use fresh pecans. They're all from our farm and our other farms around here. And, we use Ghirardelli chocolate and vanilla and everything. Most pecans in the store and in candy, they're bleached out. They bleach the wool out of them to preserve them. That way they don't have to freeze them or do anything. We don't do that. We keep all the natural stuff in it. So it gives it that good flavor. So we're a lot different than your just run-of-the-mill, pecan company. We actually use literally local stuff and fresh pecans. Fresh pecans got a lot of oil in them. So we use that as the base. So that's what changes the flavor of ours so good. We didn't want it to be like a sweet candy telling you it's a pecan. We wanted it to be a pecan flavor with a little extra. So thank you, Dave.
Well, I can tell you personally too, they're amazing. So if you hadn't tried them, head down the NC 102 and stop in and see them, and also see how the pecans are shelled too. Did you get a chance to see that, Dave?
No.
No, I know when I go down 102 where his farm is because I'll see the antenna on top of the pecan tree. So.
Hey, and what is the name of the website so everybody out there in internet land can check it out?
Billy's NuthouseCandyCompany.com.
I think I have that.
Billy's NuthouseCandyCompany.com. There you go.
You can follow us on Facebook, Instagram. We do a lot of our we post a lot on Facebook, kind of where we're at all the time. We're now in the Snack Shack in Williamston. With Dave's awesome store. That was really fun going to see that. That's a really good idea, Dave. That was fun.
It was very cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. We're waiting on the top right square of Kyle from LaGrange. Hang out.
I have not been to Williamston since December. I actually was talking to my dad today and told him I was going to get up there weekend pretty soon. So when I'm in town, I'll stop by.
All right, cool, man. Love to have
We'll
you.
have to do a live show over there, Dave. All four of us. Yeah, the
anytime. You let me know anytime. I've got a key, by the way. I've got a key to a Snack Shack. You can get anytime.
That's right.
Sweet.
I think I know the owner.
Yeah, you might. Two owners. We on the left side.
That's right. Two owners. That's right.
Yeah, that's right. And anyway, great time. And Landis. Hopefully, people will definitely order for those. It's, by the way, makes great birthday gifts. Somebody has a birthday tomorrow. I don't know who that could be. And it's actually me. But anyway, so
happy birthday, Dave! A day early.
Thank you, sir.
51.
Yeah, I think Landis has got one coming 52, up too. The 22nd.
It's actually 52.
All right. Who's your birthday's 22nd, Landis? So
birthday.
You're gonna be what? 40?
38.
38. Okay. 38. Okay.
Knocking on the door.
Knocking on pretty much.
Life gets better as it goes on. Hey, Johnny has a question, a baseball question.
Wait a minute. Hold on, Landis. Hold on. Wait a minute. You said didn't you say you were 14 in the summer of 98?
I was 11.
Yeah, your math ain't mathing.
Nah, you talking about the Sammy Sosa?
Yes.
Yeah, I was 6th grade then, not 8th grade.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't remember that, though, Kyle.
Well, that's where I came up with 40 from.
Johnny says, how about another player flipping his bat and talking trash after drawing a walk yesterday? Is that a thing now? I was wondering about that too. Thank you, Johnny. Johnny's on it. Johnny on the spot.
Must be a thing.
I think they're getting they got a lot of leeway going on right now. I think in the nothing against our umpires. I don't want to do it. So my hat tips off to them all. But definitely, I think I don't know if it has something to do with the players getting paid now. I mean, y'all comment on that, the NIL.
Can they be tossed from a game? I mean, that might be a little extreme, but I mean,
maybe it's the retaliations looked down upon because it used to be the next guy's just wearing it, right in the back.
Absolutely.
That was a no doubter. Like the next guy was getting that managed itself. So I don't know if maybe there's like a fine that comes along, or you're done for 3 games, or I don't know.
Guys, Justin
they
Butts
got enough money to pay for the fines now.
Yeah, exactly. For any baseball fan who wants to come out to Granger Stadium, he's going to be at the Bird Dog games. That's our own Justin Butts, our friend. And they'll have an awesome is that high school baseball this weekend? Rumor has it that a great umpire will be on the field.
Well, so what is he going to be doing there?
Great.
He's an umpire.
For the Bird Dog?
It's 3. Help. Isn't it 3 high schools, Justin? High schools over there this weekend.
He is doing Bird Dog games, but no, this is a high school.
I'm ready.
Right, but isn't it 3 high schools going to be in that classic or jamboree?
I guess we're getting ready to.
I'm not sure. I've heard it.
I don't know. So,
Landis ignoring you, Coach?
Wait, what did you say? Oh, I don't know.
It's 12 teams this
No,
weekend.
I was asking Justin.
It's 12 teams.
Oh,
12 teams.
Justin.
Wow,
I thought he was asking Landis. Okay.
So it's pretty. Justin, what do you think about being an umpire on a bat flip on a walk? What is your take on that? He says it's 4 games: Saturday, Monday, and Tuesday.
Oh wow. Okay.
All right. So, but is he also going to be doing Bird Dogs games? That's what I'm not clear on.
He told us in the last week or two that he would be, but this weekend is high school games at Granger. But he is doing Frontier League games.
That's awesome.
Okay. Well,
we'll definitely come out and check them out.
I'm gonna go out there and check out that. They start in May, don't they?
Yeah.
It's coming up. Yeah, I can't wait. It's going to be a lot of fun, and glad they were able to keep their team in Kinston at Granger. I'm going to make it take my kids more figuring that out.
And we got is it Danny Beal? What former Pirate pitcher just signed with him? Yeah, Danny Beal. So.
Oh, that's cool. That's extra cool. That's a great way. Smart move by the Bird Dogs to get a local guy or a Pirate on there to definitely that'll help sell tickets. Yeah, it gives you a reason to care about the Bird Dogs outside of the geographically.
Jumping off the subject a little bit, I'll be heading down to Gamecock country. I'm not a fan of them. I will be there rooting for the Ole Miss, Coach Bianco and crew.
Uh-oh.
And Steffi and I will get a chance to talk to him. And he had sent in a Dave, if you remember, Coach Bianco did a video for my 40th.
Yes,
so we're excited heading down there this weekend.
That was really cool. And can you get him on the show? Coach has been talking about having a lot of.
I tell you what, when I talk to him, I talk to him, I will. And then the very next Thursday, we're going up to the NC State Clemson game. I know Avant would come up here in a heartbeat. Coach
He's been on before.
And,
yeah, he's a good guy.
Yeah, I get Coach Avant and Jack Leggett, Coach Leggett. So, yeah, but Bianco would be cool. I don't think he's ever been up here.
No, he hasn't.
No, he hasn't.
And your former head coach at Wesleyan,
Mike Fox.
Thank you.
Fox.
Yeah, Mike Fox has been up here multiple times. Mike Fox, I hated how nice Mike Fox was. It actually pissed me off because I wanted to hate him. And he was he could have been.
Hey, he's a great guy.
Class act.
He's a great guy.
Yeah, he is.
Absolutely.
All right, so let's see. He says that he has the first 2 games on Saturday. If you want to check him out, folks, there at Granger Stadium. In fact, he's saying that it's let's see, Rosewood, South Lenore, Midway. Oh, these are all the teams.
North Lenore, too.
Rosewood, South Lenore, Midway, Southern Wayne, East Duplin, some of the teams in the tourney. I like tournaments, so that's a
Oh
cool.
God, I'm right in the middle of all that. I literally live halfway in between North Lenore. Well, no, I don't. I live halfway between North Lenore and Eastern Wayne. I was about to say I live halfway between North Lenore and Rosewood. I live halfway between North
That's
Lenore
not
and Eastern
Notre
Wayne.
Dame. That's North Duplin and Aycock, right, guys? Notre Dame is not going to be playing it.
CBA cock, not EBA cock.
Yeah, no doubt. So that's really cool. And baseball is here, and one of the best times of the year. This morning when I woke up, it was not too hot, so it was nice to walk out. The azaleas are blooming. I didn't get to see. Apparently, there was a sudden death. I'll have to go back and watch that. By the way, the Masters.
That was really good.
Yeah, I got to watch that. I heard it was really awesome. So hate that I missed that. I was trying to prepare and for the show and trying to get here and get ready, so I missed the end of that tournament. Speaking of a tournament, that's kind of a big deal. And Justin, he's saying he is the Eastern Wayne guy.
Yeah, I know you are, Justin.
Rabbit Fulgham was this
I'm gonna just show up at Eastern Wayne one day when Justin's out there.
Oh my God, that'll be something.
Hey.
Kyle, you saw the first pitch.
Old Coach Rabbit Fulgham's son, Jabbo, was a grad assistant when I was playing at ECU in 1985 under Coach Gary Overton and Coach Billy Best.
That is all. That's awesome. In fact, anyway, I can't say what Justin said. If you were on Facebook and you see the comments, it is what it is. Guys, do you have any? Let's put it out there. Last call, not for alcohol, but last call for questions, comments, and then we're going to do the final. We'll give the final word to the guys, the fellas, and see what their take is for this week. Gabo was his high school coach.
Oh, that's cool. Jabbo is a great guy. Great guy. The whole family.
All right. Anybody have any questions or comments for Coach and Landis and Kyle? Put it up on the screen, and we'll do that one more. If not, guys, we talked about Wilmington. We need a big crowd. By the way, let's get your tickets out there. Get your tickets out there. If you can't go, let's have a packed stadium. Every single game is important. And if you don't believe me, then that's why we play 56 games. And we cannot take it for granted. Let's get everybody there. And then, of course, UAB is a little bit of a haul. I did that for the Birmingham Bowl. It's like 9 or 10 hours. It's a long ride. So that's going to be difficult for maybe there's some Pirate fans in that area that can go. But definitely let's get everybody there at Tuesday night. Right, guys, at 6 o'clock?
Absolutely.
And Justin says, come Pat Granger on Saturday. LOL. Of course. If you're there, Kyle, you can go there, right?
Nah, no, I'm banned from Granger. No, yes, of course I can go there, but I seriously doubt. I seriously will.
Except for that one time.
Batteries out there.
Was that
Yeah, he did. Yeah, look out. He's saying support local high school guys. Absolutely. I come from an area in Williamston. Our guys have only lost, I think we're 13-3. We've lost 3 games. 2 of them guys, Perquimans. You heard of a guy, Jim Catfish Hunter. He's from there, and God rest his soul. We lost him to ALS, but in '99. But that Perquimans baseball team is a good team, and our team is a good team. But we've lost 2 games to them. So anyway, love baseball, whatever level. I love it. Even watching those cute kids playing t-ball, it's hilarious when they hit the ball and run to third base. Or one kid I know actually threw the ball. Hit the ball. He ran to the outfield and then ran it back to the pitcher instead of running around the bases because he had learned that in practice. That's what you're supposed to do. So great.
Yeah, I'll sign off with this real fast. 39 years ago today, my cousin John Barber, or actually it wasn't John Barber. I knew him as John Barber, but he's whatever his dad's last name was, I forget now. My aunt on my dad's side, her son. So she was a barber before she got married, but he passed away at 14 years old, 39 years ago today. I was just 5 years old. But from Hereford for Crimmins County, as just mentioned, and Catfish Hunter did the eulogy at his funeral. He was a very good baseball player at 14, and Catfish had worked with him quite a bit. and he passed away 39 years ago today. So, Dave, you had mentioned Perquimans County Catfish Hunter. It's funny that you mentioned that because I was literally talking to my dad earlier today about John passing away 39 years ago, and he was 14, I was 5. But Catfish, like I said, did his eulogy. Great baseball player. Who knows how far he would have gone at 14? A lot of kids are good, but he was really good. And anyway, so I just wanted to get that in there. But that's all I got, guys. I'm gonna sign out here. And again, everybody, if you're upset about Bailey, as we talked about at the beginning of the show, go back and listen to the beginning of it, and send your emails to Clay Walker and Gilbert and let them know you want Bailey to stay on as part of things. And guys, enjoy your week. Hopefully it'll be a better week for the Pirates, and we go 4-0.
Sounds good. Thank you very much, Kyle. Well, he's out. All right, I'll give you guys Landis and Paul and Coach Hill. What you got before we go?
Hey, just real quick, I got to head on. I got to tackle my young minds tomorrow morning, and Landis does too. But hats off to the Pirates. Hang in there. Stick together. I know they are. Coach Godwin and crew doing a great job. We're still pulling for you. Nothing lost there, and the fans are still pulling. And let's turn this thing around.
No doubt. And how about you, Landis?
Yeah, I agree. Definitely got to come 3-1 out of this week. Hopefully 4-0. UAB looks like they're 4-8 in conference, 19-17 overall. So hopefully, get those 3 wins down in Birmingham. And obviously UNCW, I'm ready to play, but hopefully ride the 12-4 win right down through the week. And, winning's contagious. Hopefully it catches on. So, and it's fun when you're winning.
No doubt.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Thank you so much. Appreciate everybody viewing and listening. And we'll put this out as a podcast as well. For Coach Paul Hill, Landis, and Kyle, I'm Dave Richmond. You've been watching and listening to Extra Innings on the Sports Objective. Good luck to the Pirates, and we'll see you next time. Good night, everybody.
Go Pirates.
Yep.
You're watching the Sports Objective, the podcast for Pirates.